All right, so I want to take a few moments to try to explain a little bit about what you're going to be seeing. So what we have in front of us is actually a series of sample student schedules, as well as what some planning periods might look like for teachers on different schedules. So we're going to be looking at four different sample student schedules. So I'm clicking on the blue one. This is sample schedule number one. We'll talk about it in detail in just a moment. This is sample schedule number two in green. I'll scroll down. We've got sample schedule 3 in pink and 4 in orange. Each of them is slightly different. We'll talk about those in just a moment. So sample schedule 1, you'll notice that period 0 is just our planning period as it is now, showing up at work at 8:05 until 9 o'clock. And then period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 instead of 5 because we're looking at adding an advisory. What time of day that happens will flex between the different schedules, and that's what we're going to be looking at specifically. So each class period here in sample schedule 1 is 57 minutes long. So we have from 9 to 9:57. Let's say it might be a science class. Doesn't mean science is only taught first period, it's just in this particular sample student schedule. 3-minute passing period instead of 2, looking at having hopefully some more time for teachers to take care of themselves, as well as students to actually get to class, check their phone, and be ready to go with the beginning of class. So that means 10 o'clock, second period would start. And for this schedule, we're looking at advisory. So advisory is going to be every day, Monday through Friday. It's 30 minutes in each of these schedules. Some examples of what may happen in that advisory. We have some ICAP requirements we need to take care of with different grade levels. That could be happening. Building in study hall into the day, so structuring how students are completing the work that they need to complete. Coming up with culture and restorative practice options, so circles and developing relationships, making phone calls to families. And then student grades and tracking, so providing space and opportunity for students to pull their own grades from Schoology or IC, track those grades, make a plan when I have study hall, maybe tomorrow. What am I going to be working on? What do I need to do to be ready for that? So those are some options of things that could happen in advisory. It could also be homogeneously grouped. We could be serving GT students specifically in one classroom, some L students and a series of others. If we need to meet some special ed minutes with students, that could be an opportunity. So looking at really making the most of that time. It also might allow us to do some testing, access, SAT, MAPS, in this time period where we can reduce the amount of pullout from our core classes, core content classes. So some things going on with advisory there. We have another class, and then for 57 minutes in third period, and then lunch. Lunch in each one of these schedules is after third period, so they're all after third period, but the time of the day will change depending on the order of things. So here we have from 11:30 to 12 plus a 3-minute passing with one lunch. So in speaking with Miss Liz, wanting to keep lunch short so that not people don't have the opportunity to make some poor choices perhaps, but we also want to make sure that we have the logistics in order for one lunch, that we can get everyone served and everyone's needs met and everyone can eat before moving into the fourth period class. So one lunch, hoping to avoid some opportunities for missing classes out of either confusion or an opportunity to hang with friends or significant others with the 2-lunch system. It also reduces the amount of time spent on preparing and serving lunches and also supervising lunches, both inside and outside the building. So looking at cleaning up what lunch might look like here at Colorado High School. Then we have after lunch in this particular schedule, we have 3 classes, each 57 minutes long. So start the day at 9, end the day at 3, just like we have this year, but each class 57 minutes to make way for longer passing periods and the advisory. Sample schedule 2 in green, also 57-minute classes. It's almost the exact same schedule. The difference being that advisory is moved from second to fifth period in this schedule. These are both great options. They have pros and cons. Just talking about why second and fifth, why not first or sixth, third or fourth. So first and sixth, low attending classes. They have students either coming in late or leaving early, and we want to catch as many students as we can, so those may not be great options. Third and fourth generally straddle lunch, in which students might feel the opportunity to take an extended lunch and miss advisory and all the things that we can offer and all the relationships we can develop and ways we can support them. And so let's maybe not do third or fourth. We're left with second or fifth, and that's something we need input on is which of those is better and why. So before we go to sample schedule 3, what you're going to see here, I'll highlight it in blue. This is just a rough idea of first period, second period, third, lunch, fourth, fifth, sixth. When do teachers have planning, right? When would advisory be? So this is for sample schedule 1. We'd have advisory second period. We have lunch between third and fourth. And we can see that math teacher A, B, and C, let's say we had 3 of them here at the Osage campus, they would have common planning, so they could develop common assessments, go over data with each other, develop units, talk about field trips. So common planning and common data time for each of the content areas, science, social studies, English, and electives as well. Science we put here in third period because we heard some feedback that sometimes it's a good idea to have labs with some time to clean up before the next prep comes in for fourth. So that's something to consider why that happened here. And social studies right after lunch. It looks a little flipped. Also considering maybe not having electives in the last period of the day. Maybe students might be more likely to consider that an optional class. Maybe we have planning for electives teachers that period. Conversely, first period, large leverageable item on the SPF, maybe we don't have math first period. So the teachers have planning, and then our students can attend through the rest of the day. So over here, I'll highlight it in blue. This is the same type of thing. This just represents sample schedule number 2, where advisory shifts from second to fifth period. Let's go down to sample schedule 3 in pink. It's going to look a lot like sample schedule 1 in blue. A lot like it in that advisory is the second period of the day. We don't have math first period. We don't have electives last period. What has changed is the length of the classes. Instead of 57, they are a nice round 60. So adding 3 minutes to each one of the class periods. So we have from 9 to 10, 10:03. I'm sorry, this is still advisory, 30 minutes. So an hour for math, an hour for elective, an hour for social studies. 3 times 5 periods, that actually pushes the day 15 minutes to 3:15. So a decision we have to make is, are the extra 3 minutes per day length of class worth pushing the schedule out to 3:15? Thinking about student needs and teacher needs and all staff needs, what does that mean? What does that look like? But this is an option. Sample schedule 4 is also 60 minutes. The difference between 3 and 4, again, is just where advisory is placed. So it's 30 minutes. It's always 30 minutes in each of the schedules. It's either second or fifth. It's just determining where it's placed and how long each class period is. Those are the overviews. So the big changes: 1 lunch, advisory for 30 minutes every day with the same cohort of students, and 3-minute passing periods instead of 2. Then the questions we have is advisory second or fifth period, and do we want maybe 57-minute classes to keep it at 3 o'clock in time, or 60-minute classes to end at 3:15?